Fly ball right center. Deep. Got a chance! 500! Miguel Cabrera has done it!
All right, and welcome in on a Tuesday evening. I'm Brian Jelnick. Dennis Fithian is with me, and we're ready for another 5 fantastic chapters here on the 5th chapter. Dennis, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Dan Dickerson with the, I don't know what that is. He just was ready for it. He had a good call.
Seeing him all excited for that home run was just so cool. You can't hate Dan Dickerson at all. He's the man in every way, shape, and form calling Tigers games, and just seeing his excitement, whatever this was just awesome to see.
Did you have a camera on yourself so we could get your reaction when 500 was hit, or no?
I didn't. I actually work at a golf course, and I had the TV on, and when he came up to a bat, I just stopped helping the people I was helping, turned around and watched the at-bat, and just did one of these when I saw it. Hence why I'm wearing the Tigers baseball right now.
I'll tell you my experience in the 4th chapter. There's a tease for you coming up. What I was doing, watching, what was it, Sunday, yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. Speaking of the chapters, we will be talking about an array of things. You can see them right there. We'll get to the Lions and their 2 preseason games. They got a 3rd one coming up. And then we will talk about what else is going on in the NFL. We've got the Tuesday tradition with Raaj Bundles will be joining us, coming in with some over and unders. We got an interesting Piston one. We'll see if he's got that one in his 5-pack. And then the aforementioned Tigers, 500 bombs for Miguel Cabrera. We'll talk about that. And then what's left with the Detroit Tigers season. And then we'll get to whether it's a story time or major wager or whatever else is going on in that 5th chapter we'll get to. But let's start it out right with number 1 of the 1st chapter. If you're out there, you want to give us some feedback, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, get your fingers out. We read those as they come in. So we're looking forward to that and you joining us here. So the Lions, they've played 2 preseason games. They have 1 to go, and that's this Friday against the Colts. And what you see pretty much is what you get now, even though we haven't seen a whole lot. Dan Campbell saying today that he expects to rest most of the starters for that preseason finale. So this is like the old 4th preseason. So what we've seen so far, this is pretty much it before the opener against the 49ers. What do you take away from this preseason?
I don't ever want to see Tim Boyle play a regular season snap with the Lions. I can't stand that guy. I don't understand the cult following behind him when he came from Green Bay. I think he's just been atrocious. Just watching him, he went 7 for 15 for 44 yards, no TDs. He doesn't look good, Dennis. I have no idea what he's doing here. I don't love David Blau either, but David Blau has made himself look like a backup quarterback compared to Tim Boyle.
Yeah, I don't like either of the backups. You know, the whole thing with the preseason here, I didn't need to watch that game on Saturday. That thing was that was a tough watch. You know, going in, you know, I got my friends that are Lions fans. They're, you know, we're all fired up, and then midway through the, you know, first half, they're like, "Hey, it's all our number 2s against their 1s. What do you expect?" And I'm like, "I don't know, expecting something a little bit, you know, something." I wasn't expecting Jeff Okudah to get beat by a pass. I wasn't expecting him to. You know, it's a pretty easy bar for me. It's not like I was tuning in expecting, you know, like great things. It's preseason. You have to take it all with a grain of salt. But as my friends tell me, it's like, "Yeah, you're just going to be hating on them." I'm like, I don't know. Like, I was just expecting it not to look like the same old Lions. And that's kind of how they looked. And I know that it was a lot of the backups, and I know it's just preseason, and I know it's a different regime. And I think also the thing to add in is I know that heading in, the expectations for this team, you know, only the Texans have a worse outlook than the Lions. So if you're personnel-wise looked at as the worst team in the NFL, and you're playing a preseason game on the road against some starters and Big Ben coming in there and Deontay Johnson and everything else and Najee Harris, maybe that's, you know, what you expect them how to look, or you expect them to look bad. And, you know, it's not to hammer on them or anything. They just look bad. There was nothing out of the first half. I just sat there and was just like, man, this was a waste of time. But, you know, it's as the game went on, the 2 defensive tackles, one that was drafted in the 2nd and 3rd round, they made some plays. The guy that was drafted in the 6th round, Barnes, Derek Barnes, like, okay, he made a few plays. Maybe we'll see him more. Maybe that would be a reason for some people to tune in on Friday night if they're just like, we all love football. I mean, we're football starved, so they get us even on, like, there's no reason. I've crossed a couple bridges in my life. One is that I can remember 10, 15, 20 years ago when the Hall of Fame game was, like, ooh, August. It was like, wow, man, I don't care. It's football. I don't care what's going on. I'm going to tune in. Here's the music. Here's everything. But I've realized over the years, there's absolutely no reason to, when people say football starts tonight, it's like, okay. And, a couple of weeks ago when it happened, the next day it was predictable. Everyone's like, that was a complete waste of time. The exhibition season, we see that some teams put their starters in, others, completely rest all of them. It's always been a waste of time, but it's becoming more of a waste of time. We don't need any of it. And hopefully it just gets down to 2 games here and we'll just get ready for the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree and disagree with you. Football's football. Like, I watched all of the Hall of Fame game. I love preseason football just because it's on in August. Like, I need football. I'm kind of burned out on baseball at this point. So, like, I need something different to watch. And so just having football on is just incredible for me. Yeah, the product's terrible. And looking at the Lions game on Saturday, Mason Rudolph looked like a freaking stud, man, with all those underneath passes, just eating up the defense, tiring them out. Defense looked atrocious against Mason Rudolph. And like, I know it sucks to watch. I know the Lions aren't going to be very good, but it's still football. I'm still going to watch it. Like, you're still going to watch it. At the end of the day, it's football.
No, well, I think, I was thinking about maybe it's just because I'm older now and maybe I'm jaded or something, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, I love football as much as I ever did, but I think 20 years ago, I couldn't just tune in almost at any point of the day on TV or on radio or on podcasts and get things with the NFL. So I would watch that Hall of Fame game just because it was cool. Like, hey, just like I used to watch the Pro Bowl because there was nothing else going on and it was football. And you know what? They would talk about the off season and the projections for next year and the Super Bowl. I don't need any of that anymore. I've got available at my fingertips. I got shows like this. They're talking about it. I mean, if you really want something interesting to go with the NFL, I mean, there's 100 other things you can watch and listen to rather than a preseason game. And you know what? You've got the new announcer sounds like he's pretty good, but he fits right into Bally's. Like, they always get Herman Moore kept saying, they got a lot of tape to look at. Yeah, they got a hell of a lot of tape. A hell of a lot of tape. But I gave it 3 quarters and I watched. I put out a tweet like, I didn't want to say just SOL, good night. So I said, hey, hopefully, hey, David, in a season, that we know is not going to be a very good winner loss wise. We already know that. Hopefully they can just show some bright spots, but the Pistons, like they were terrible and I wanted them to lose and I still enjoyed watching the games. I didn't enjoy watching anything to do, even though it was football. Your point, you're like, hey, it's football, it's football. I hated watching what I was watching because it just put me in the place where the Lions have had me for my entire life. And that's like cornered, like you will hate your existence. You will root for them. There will be people telling you, jump off the bed, everything. It's like, wow, here I am again. They got me. I'm cornered. Why am I watching this? Why am I saying anything? So I'm trying to take a different approach heading into the season. I don't know if it's a different approach. I watch what I see. If it looks, this is what I hope for. I hope that I can watch the Lions and there can be some things that I look at and say, hey, this will be good for the future. And it's not just going to be like a feeling like it always is, like, oh, my God, Dan Campbell's in over his head. These draft picks blow. This thing's, careening just towards another disaster that the Fords always put us through. That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. So, I mean, and it's not much of a bar. I'm not asking them for a whole lot. I'm just asking them for the regular season not to look like the first half on Saturday against the Steelers.
That first half was really tough, man. And, like, going back to Tim Boyle, I don't know how in the world he beat out Jordan Love last year. Like, is Jordan Love that bad? Like, who knows? Tim Boyle looks absolutely terrible. The only thing I like about Tim Boyle is he's rocking these Air Jordan football spikes, and that's it. I have no idea. I have no idea what to say about this guy. Like, he's not good in any way. David Blau is not very good either, but David Blau looks like a Pro Bowler compared to Tim Boyle.
Yeah, I remember when the Lions, would have Stafford. There were a few years there, like the backup was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And the one year they had Sean Hill, who was actually, he was a starter, and as backups would go, he was one of the top backups in the league. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But then mostly the Lions have had guys that you don't remember, you don't want to remember when they were put in there.
Mm-hmm.
They're terrible. If we went through the top 32 and then we went to the next 32, which would be the backups, Boyle or Blau, I don't think would be in the top half. I haven't ranked them myself, but I mean they're not there with Trubisky or anything like that. Like
Chad Henne,
Flacco, they're not better than those guys. So. Yeah, I mean, that might be better than Balducci there for the Cowboys or something like what they're throwing out. But maybe we can get a ranking of the next 32. I haven't seen anybody do that.
We actually have a new intern on the program. That's going to be his homework for Thursday. Looking at the top 32 backup quarterbacks or ranking.
Well, I'll have him rank. We want him ranking 33 through 64. That's his assignment.
Exactly.
That's him right here, Pete. If he's up to it. Pete, we want you to rank the quarterbacks from 33 to 64. We'll see how you do. We'll see if we agree with it or not. Who's that? Mason Rudolph's the backup there with Pittsburgh?
I think Mason Rudolph's a pretty serviceable player. I really do.
He started some NFL games.
Yeah.
We've seen that. Mm-hmm. He had did he swing his helmet at Garrett, or Garrett swung his helmet
at him? Swung his helmet. Mason Rudolph allegedly said something very bad. Who knows if that's true or not? But yeah, Myles Garrett's the one who threw him through the football his head, or through the football helmet at his head. So yeah, but
that's what I know him for mostly now. But I would put him ahead. Pete, when you're doing your rankings, I would put Rudolph in front of Blau.
I could almost go on to say that Mason Rudolph's the top half backup quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I would buy that right off without looking at him there. It sounds pretty good. All right, here's some more of the feedback here on the Lions. Beth, good to see her in that state. She's ready to go.
Go green.
Sewell so far has not been impressive. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, it doesn't mean, and Beth's not saying that like Sewell's a bust or something, but what you would like to see, I wanted to hear like Sewell's a dancing bear. Nobody can get around him.
Yeah.
Guy's a prodigy.
A brick
you want to
wall,
hear things like that. The first game, it wasn't the greatest rep. Vitae, the right guard, got caved in, but you could also see Russo. It didn't look like it didn't look like some future Pro Bowl out there at right tackle. Sewell in that first game, and then he had some issues here against the Steelers, and I mentioned Dan Campbell, who a dog and cat are fighting. Who said that he was just going to play most of the backups? He said he was going to steal these things for cats. You're good here.
Oh, I thought you were going to eat them. All right.
No, I would never eat cat treats, but he said that he would get Sewell some reps on Friday. Most of the starters, but the first-round rookie still needs some reps in there. So, yeah, he hasn't been great. That's going to be one of the things. That's like when I'm making my list of things in the upcoming season, wins and losses, of course, are going to be a factor, because there's going to be some point where the Lions, and I'm going in hoping that they beat San Francisco. I'm not going to pick them to do that, but I'm going to root for them to beat San Francisco. The following week, I'm going to root for them to beat Green Bay, but I don't think they're going to do either of those two things.
No.
So there'll be a point where when it's over, then I get into, all right, it doesn't matter if I'm a fan or not. I got to switch to, I hope they lose, because it's going to be best for the franchise. I'm not thinking that heading in. I'm not hoping that they lose to San Francisco or they go 0-17. I'm not hoping for any of those things, but
I'm not either.
I'm hoping that Penei Sewell learns baptism by fire. Was he going to go against Bosa week 1? Let's go. Let's see how he does. He's going to go against the Smith brothers up in Green Bay, see how he does there. Hopefully, whatever the record is after 2-3 games, you're like, hey, Sewell, man, he's been in here and he's been battling and he looks everything like the best tackle and everything that you had hoped for. Not like, he's struggling here at the outset. We don't want to hear any more of that. So,
yeah, backing up a little bit, you said that you don't want to see Dan Campbell look like he's over his head or anything. There was one play, I think, at the end of the first quarter where Tim Boyle got called for an intentional grounding, and all the announcers were saying like, oh, the Lions should challenge, the Lions should challenge. And Dan Campbell, I'm not sure if he looked like confused or didn't know what to do, but I kind of got the vibe a little bit that he had no idea what he was doing for 2 or 3 seconds. And that's something that I'm really scared to see, because I'm on record on this show saying that I really do believe in Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. I do not want Campbell to look like he's confused or has no idea what he's doing. And I got that vibe a little bit on Saturday.
Well, believing him and getting behind him, all those things are fine to do. But, you know, it's none of this. Like, I left a bad taste in my mouth in the fourth quarter, and that loss against the Bills, how they ran those 2 plays. It didn't matter if it was an exhibition season or not. When you have 10 yards to go and you're throwing a 5-yard out that's got no chance to turn it up the field, it's a bad play call. It's bad execution. It's bad everything. I don't care where you're at. Yeah, you want to make the argument that, well, we were pretending we were at the 50. Well, I'm not buying any of that. I didn't hear any of that from Campbell either. And then the third down play where you have to know, like, you are either throwing it right into the end zone to a wide open wide receiver, or you are running and taking the sack into the ground so you can burn that last time out. Instead, you know, it's Blau threw it, you know, into the crowd. You can't do that. Those are 2 things that matter. That's bad coaching. That's bad execution. That's bad play call. It's bad everything. So, you know, those 2 play calls, I saw there were a few people, Dave Burkett won, like, letting them off the hook. It just left the bad taste. It doesn't mean that Campbell's not going to be able to do anything. But like to your point here, when the bullets are flying against San Francisco, there can't be any, well, this is the first-year learning curve or anything else. Campbell's got to be ready to jump up on the horse, and he's got to be ready to go as much as anything. Like, if this team only wins 3 or 4 games, but Campbell is able to stand up there after the games and give an assessment without seeing like, you know, he's glazed over or starting to use these excuses like every other Lions coach in history has. Now, all these Lion fans with all this enthusiasm of biting kneecaps and everything else, we'll see where that's at, you know, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, where maybe they go 0-4. We'll see where everybody's at. And again, I'm not hoping they are. I am predicting that they are going to be that way, but I'm not hoping that they're going to be that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I kind of want him to be kind of like a 2015 Jim Harbaugh, and he was just all fired up, always on the sidelines, like ready to go, like looked like he wanted to run through a brick wall. Like, I need Dan Campbell to be that all year round, even if we do go like 4-13 or 3-14, something like that. I need that all year round.
There's some Blau statistics for you. Peter asking if you think he'll be ready for the regular season or he will struggle. Talking about Sewell. Yeah, well, I think he's going to be in there at right tackle, and he's going to go up against Bosa. They'll be flipping him over there. So we'll find out. Me trying to say that I think he's going to be ready to go against one of the better defensive ends in the NFL. I don't know. He's supposed to be. When you pick a guy at or the Lions picking 6, you're supposed to have an all-pro tackle, and you get it. Like, he might struggle, he might give up some sacks, but these are the kind of things that you hope for in the first game. Here's a Brian C. So, chap. When will we see the kicker? Reporters say he's been SOL in practice. I bet he'll shank tons of field goals. So, are we talking about the guy that used to kick for the Texans, right? This is the guy that they have right now.
Yeah, I gotta look him up.
I did see that the Colts, they had the kicker that had the double doink for the Bears, Pinheiro, in the playoffs. He was going up against Rodrigo Blankenship, and he lost that. So maybe now, you know, the Lions will be in here with the dude that was kicking for the Bulla, but Randy Bullock.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Bulla, I think. Yeah, Randy Bulla.
I don't think Chap even knows the name of the Lions kicker. He just said, "Is the Lions kicker going to be SOL?" I don't think anybody knows the name of the Lions kicker.
I just told you what it is.
Bulla?
Randy Bulla. All right, Keith in here on the feedback. Lions should have drafted Fields. Like I said on draft day, I take a franchise quarterback over a lineman every day of the week. Well, you know what, Keith? I agree with you on your assessment on what the Lions should have done. It's so hard to get that franchise quarterback, and if you're in position to do that, I would have done it. Now, the whole thing, that the Lion fans and a lot of Lions media were like, hey, they've got 6 years. They're going to do this right. So let's Let's wait a year with Goff. You don't want to start the clock on Dan Campbell and everything. Let's just give him a free year here, build an offensive line, and then go after your quarterback. Now, you don't know if you're going to be in position next year for a quarterback or not, and it really came down to what you thought of Justin Fields. And I'm with you. Keith. I would have taken Fields right there, and it would have been odd. We wouldn't be sitting around talking. We'd be like Bears fans, like, we want to see him game one.
Not you don't want to see Andy Dalton game one?
I think we are going to see.
We're going to, yeah,
because they're playing against the Rams.
Yep.
Wilson and Fields might be the top two quarterbacks, and not the number one pick in Lawrence. You don't know. Wilson's look great. I already agree with you on Fields. I think he's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to Keith, but Trevor Lawrence. It's not like, I watched the Monday night game. I watched most of the first half last night. Yeah, Lawrence still, when you watch him, you see why, just like when he was at Clemson, he can move around as well as any of those quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
And his arm is, he throws it like Aaron Rodgers right now, who's got the best arm in the league. Best arm in the league, and he's extremely mobile and tall. I mean, there's really not a whole lot not to like about Trevor Lawrence. So I still would have taken Lawrence. Wilson's look great. He should be. He's going to be the guy for the Jets. And I don't know, Trey Lance, are we going to see him game one against the Lions?
We'll get to all that.
We'll get to all of that coming up. Keith taking some shots. I don't know why he's taking a shot at Danny Ainge here, but I like it. So I'm all right with it. Roger's already talking about the regret. I hear that. Who do we think will emerge as wide receiver one without Galladay or Jones? I think it's Ty Williams right now. I think, Brashard Perriman has been.
He could get cut.
Yeah, he's been non-existent here in training camp, so we haven't heard a whole lot. Amon-Ra St. Brown, ultimately, he looks a lot. People, saying he reminds them a lot. I mean, he looks a lot like in his uniform of Golden Tate.
Yeah.
I see that myself. These other guys, the one that was not a rugby player, but
is that number 85, like blocker or something like that? I can't remember his name.
He's a
little short guy. Yeah.
A lacrosse player. The short guys are, the guys in the slot. They look like it's going to be, if I was picking somebody fantasy-wise, I would pick Ty Williams. I guess Quintez Cephas would still be. Randy Bullock. Good call.
I would never have gotten that name.
Bulla, I was calling him, which was close. All right. That's going to do it for Chapter 1. You ready to turn the page?
Let's turn the page to Chapter 2. And Chapter 2 is just talking about what we've seen so far in the NFL preseason. So what are some big storylines that you're looking at, Fifth?
Well, the quarterbacks are the interesting ones, especially if you're a Lions fan and you are looking at Justin Fields there. He's been on TV. I've watched, those games in there, and they put the red rifle out there. And, the Bears fans are looking at him sideways, and Fields comes in. Everybody's cheering, and it's just a matter of time before he takes over. But, the Bears reiterated today that it's going to be the red rifle. And if you look, going against the Rams and their defense in game one, you don't want to put Fields in that position. Cincinnati, Andy Dalton's former team, I know he played for the Cowboys last year, but going against your former team, you can see that. And then their third game, I think, is at Cleveland, which also has an excellent defense. So those 2 out of the 3 first games, you give Dalton the chance to say, hey, here's the experienced quarterback. Let's see what he can do with it. He's going up against 2 outstanding defenses and the former team that he played for all of those years. And then, if they're sitting there 0-3 or 1-2, then it's a very easy transition. You say, hey, they've got the Detroit Lions. Put Fields in against the Detroit Lions when he was saying that the game was moving real slow and then he took a big shot in the mouth. I think, if we're sitting here making predictions today, I say Fields starts against the Lions game 4.
I like that. I would absolutely take him starting in game 4. One person, I've been looking at Jameis Winston a lot. I think he's looked very good in training camp. Or then the preseason, excuse me. Like, yesterday, he went 9 for 10 for 123 yards and 2 TDs. We have some of the clips on our feed ready to go, and I thought Jameis looked awesome. I don't believe in Taysom Hill at all. I think he's a bum. I don't understand what he's doing on a football field. But I think Jameis is the guy, and I think the Saints will be solid with him at quarterback.
Yeah, well, he threw this. You got the
I got it.
Callaway touchdown. Let's see, big famous Jameis from the 50 throwing this one in here.
You want the first or second one? We'll go with the first one. There we go.
2nd and 6. Winston will load up and throw it down the middle of the field. There is heavy contact on Callaway, and the flags come in.
Yeah.
Steve Levy didn't see that was a touchdown, and honestly, I didn't either. Maybe if he would have said touchdown, I'd have zeroed in a little bit more.
Yeah.
I was actually watching that because he just said there was a flag, and then Winston was celebrating. I'm like, well, they're celebrating because they're going to put the ball down at the 1, and then they showed the replay, and it's like, it was a great catch.
It was an awesome catch. It was a great throw.
Great throw, great catch. Taysom Hill, I think we'll see both of those guys because I don't expect I think they'll start Jameis Winston to get things going. But I would also expect Jameis Winston to be like Jameis Winston, who's going to throw some picks and he's going to get benched in a game, but then they can go to Taysom Hill. And they can also put Taysom Hill in there in his role that he had with Drew Brees. So I think you're going to see a lot of both of these QBs. So it's interesting, to talk about, and we're talking about it ourselves, the quarterback race. I think the most interesting one is San Francisco, who the Lions are going to see in game 1. Lance, they moved up to number 3, but Jimmy G took him to the Super Bowl. And there's a lot of people that, because Lance has only played 1 game in 2 years, saying, hey, take the hits now, put him under center. And that's not the way I would go.
No.
I would put Jimmy G in there. And if, this team's not, this team is expecting to go to the Super Bowl again. They're expecting to be competitive in the NFC. That's not something you need to throw around Trey Lance right away. Put Jimmy G out there. You paid him all that money. See how he handles the offense. He's got everything at his disposal, the running game. He's got pretty good wideouts here. Ayuk in his 2nd year is going to be, I think, a star in this league. Kittle is a star,
you got
obviously.
Kittle, yeah.
So they got a really easy schedule when you start looking at it. So, San Fran should get off to a great start. And then at some point, whether, you're thinking week 6 or week 7, anytime Jimmy G stumbles a little bit, stubs his toe, you can always, at that point, go to Trey Lance.
Yeah, I'm convinced Jimmy G is going to get hurt after 7, 8, or 9 games. We're going to see Trey Lance for a decent amount of the season. But I'm totally with you. I understand that Lance has played, 1 game in 2 years. Just have Jimmy G out there. Like it's totally repeating what you said. He's got the team in place. Jimmy G is a good quarterback. He's not elite. He's not amazing. He's a good quarterback. There's no way with Jimmy G under center, the San Francisco 49ers will be bad this year. So I think you just have Trey Lance sit back and wait. Jimmy G is going to be gone after this year regardless. So just let him sit back, wait, look at the offense, and bam, he'll be ready to go in 2022.
Yeah, I was looking at the trading deadline before we get to the third chapter and Raaj, who's waiting there with some over and unders. The trade deadline's not till like week 8 or week 9. They've moved it back, which is a great move for the NFL. Remember, they used to have it week 3 or week 4. It's like every team, still thinks they're in it after week 3 or week 4. It's November 2nd this year, which I think takes it through week 9. So, you got Jimmy G at that point. You're ready to make the transition. You might be able to deal.
Do you see what Roger put up in the chat? If you go down a little bit, Roger.
We're working it right here. Jameis could throw 35 touchdowns. Here's Roger.
I don't know if I want Roger saying Jimmy G to the Lions would be a good move. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like him and Goff are kind of the same quarterback, so it's not that big of a deal. I just think they're interchangeable in that regard. They're both good quarterbacks.
Well, there's 0% chance that Jimmy G would go to the Lions.
0% chance to begin with.
Yeah, the Lions just absorbed the gigantic contract of Jared Goff. They're not going to want to bring in another one to have him be the backup. So there's no chance of that happening. Do I think Jimmy G is a better quarterback than Jared Goff? Now that is a good question, and one that we will make a chapter out of coming up on Thursday. How about that, Roger?
Let's do it.
Goff versus Jimmy G. We will do that. But as mentioned, we're ready to turn the page, and that gets us to a guy who will give us some over and under.
Sideshow,
That's a better open than Chapman's.
That's way better.
What's up, Raaj?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing well, man. How about you?
Good. Another Tuesday, another over at under segment.
Yeah, I didn't mean to start yelling at you. I get excited, I just start yelling. So, yeah, over and unders. These are the ones that we had last week. Kwity Paye, sacks, Marv Jones, receiving yards, Zeke Elliott, 1,000 yards rushing. I've been watching him on Hard Knocks, sunflower seeds, and laughing it up on the sideline. My eyes aren't so good to see the last two, so I forgot what they were.
Deshaun Watson, 8 starts. You and I took the under. Raaj took the over. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, 12 starts. You took the over. I took a push at 12, and Raaj took the under.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't feel that was the one I felt the least confident about with Fitz Magic going over there. All right, so you got another 5-pack for us on the fifth chapter here, Raaj.
Yes, sir. My first one. We just seen Miggy hit his 500th home run. So 540 career home runs for Miggy. You going over or under?
I'm going under. I worked this out last week off the top of my head. I think he could get another, 4 or 5 this year, maybe. And I could see maybe 15 halfway through next year. So that puts him at what 520. Do I think another team could pick him up? Possibly, but I also think that could just be the end of it for him. What did you say, 540? I'll take the under.
540, yep.
He has 3 years left on their contract. How old is he?
He has 2 years left.
2 years left on their contract.
2 years left plus this season.
Yeah. How old is Miggy? 38, 36, something like that?
39.
39? I could see him getting the 540. I'll take the over on that. He's going to play for at least 3 more years, regardless of the Tigers or not. I hope it's not the Tigers, but I'll take the over of 540. I feel good about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the over on that as well. If he plays another 3 years, he obviously is gonna play 2.5 the rest of this year, 2 more in contract. I think he can get the 540 as well. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I'm gonna go over, just barely over. I think he'll get to like 541, 542. Yeah, but I'll take the over on that as well.
Yeah, he's 38. Well, I hope that he plays next year and the Tigers are competitive. And then and he's good enough as a designated hitter. I hope that he does it a following year too, that he's David Ortiz and late in his career. And, he stays for 2 more years. If he does that, he'll go over 540. In reality, I don't think it's going to happen. I hope so. It's one of those things again, like Raaj, man, I hope the Lions are going to beat San Francisco. I hope they're going to beat Green Bay. I don't expect it to happen though.
Yeah. So you don't think he finishes out his contract here?
No, I don't think he's going to get to the All-Star break next year, but that's just me.
See, I agree with 50, and however, I agree that he's going to be playing for at least he has 2 more years of contract. Whether that's I'm not saying it's going to be the same contract, but he's going to be playing for at least 2 or 3 more years, without a doubt.
Right.
Well, I'll take it. The without a doubt part becomes if he's only got 6 home runs after they get to June and he's hitting 210. And his OPS is like 520, and the Tigers just going to be like, I think there's going to be other teams that are like, ooh, let's get him as a DH. Maybe Miami for a month or 2, but then they'll be like, okay.
I mean, he has 13 bombs this year. If he does 13 or 14 for the next 3 years, he's going to get to 540. Right. Absolutely over. Absolutely.
The only reason he wouldn't be on the Tigers this year if he wasn't pursuing 500. They would have written that check, or they would have tried. They may have been forced to do that because nobody cares about the record and nobody really cared about his production. We just kind of put that to the sideline, but that's all right.
I mean, he's going to be a Tiger until he hits 3,000. Then they're going to cash the check and get him out of here. So
yeah, that benefits them as well. Getting his 3,000 hits, 500 home run brings more people down to the ballpark, sells more tickets.
Yep.
Yeah, we're ready for that. So I'm an under. You guys are both overs. All right, next, number 2.
All right, Kenny Galladay, the new Giants wide receiver. You going over or under on 1,000 yards receiving for Kenny Galladay?
Under,
absolutely.
Hamstring's been he hasn't been able to participate all exhibition season. And one thing that about what's a good precursor for having a hamstring injury. A hamstring injury, recovering from one, and you need that. This just in as a wide receiver. I think he'll be lucky to play 8 games.
Oh, see, I wasn't even thinking about the injury issues. The hamstring's a great point, but Daniel Jones blows. I may be a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. He's not getting to 1,000 for that reason, just because Daniel Jones sucks.
Well, I'm going to have to play devil's advocate here. I'm going to be the only guy to go over, and I think there's a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones and the Giants this year. That division sucks. I think there's going to be opportunities there. Saquon coming back. They drafted the guy in the first round. They got Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram. I think, I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over for Kenny Golladay. I think he bounces back.
Yeah, I think the worst part about the Giants is their offensive line. They don't have one. I like Kadarius Toney, but and Sterling Shepard. I mean, there's just too many question marks there. But it really starts with an offensive line that is going to be maybe the worst in the NFL. For Daniel Jones, it doesn't matter what's going on. If he's not able to sit in the pocket for 3 seconds, he's not going to be able to get the ball to baby. What do they call him? Megatron.
Is that what they call him? Baby Megatron?
I did. I mean, it wasn't like I coined it. That's what we called him here in Detroit.
All right.
Babytron.
No one's ever. Okay. All right. Okay. Whatever. I've never heard that.
All right.
That's okay. Number 3.
Number 3. All right. We seen the Monday Night Football game last night. Are you going over or under on 10 starts for Jameis Winston?
I'll start that. Jameis is my boy. Over 10 starts. I mean, like Fithian said earlier, both Hill and Jameis are going to be playing, but Jameis is going to get the starts for those games. Absolutely take the over. Jameis is a good quarterback too. Like he's good. He's not great. He's not terrible. He's a good, serviceable quarterback. He's going to throw picks. He's going to throw a lot of touchdowns, but he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
It's K Salty coming in on the Babytron. That's right. What do you think, Raaj?
I'm gonna go over on the 10 starts for Jameis Winston as well. I mean, I think he won the starting job yesterday on that Monday night game. Throwing those 2 bombs, he looked really, really efficient. I think Taysom Hill, he is what he is. He's a situational guy. Uses a Swiss Army knife for special packages. I think Winston should be the starter, and I'm gonna go over 10 starts for Jameis Winston.
Keith asking a movie question. Has anybody ever watched the show Grimm? Jimmy G's a dead ringer. I'm not familiar with Grimm.
I have no idea. Nope.
What about you, Raaj? Grimm?
The show Grimm? No, I'm not familiar.
Okay. And Peter saying Winston should start every game. Yeah, not if he's throwing 4 or 5 picks, and not if the record's not any good. But I'll go over too. I think that Winston is the guy here. I think he's going to get the start, and you should at least give him 4 or 5 games. I would think, and then I could see a situation with Hill coming back in. But then I think it's majority of the starts will be Winston. Should give me to over 10 games. All right, that's at 3. Well, we got 2 more over and unders. Where are we at?
They drafted Ian Book too, but we know he's not touching the field. All right. My next one, J.J. Watt, 5 sacks for J.J. Watt. He had 5 last year as well, so we're going over or under on that.
Go ahead. You started out, Raaj.
On the 5 sacks, I'm gonna go over. I'll give him 6. I think the Cardinals are going to be good. They're going to be a factor in the West. That defense, Buda Baker, J.J. Watt, they got some guys that can fly around. I think he'll be in a position to make some plays. Russell Wilson running around out there in the NFC West. I'll go over on J.J. Watt on the 5 sacks. I'll give him 6. I'll give me the over.
So he had 5 last year?
Yep.
I feel like 5 sacks is easily attainable for J.J. Watt, right? Like 5, 6, 7 sacks. Yeah, I'll go with the over. I feel like he can absolutely do it, especially with, like you said, Russell Wilson running out there, stuff like that, mobile quarterbacks. He can get to 5 or 6, absolutely. I'll take the over.
Yeah, I think, Raj, you hit on something there. They lost Patrick Peterson to the Vikings, but I watched a little bit of the preseason, and I was thinking that the Lions were even interested in taking Isaiah Simmons, the ball-hawking linebacker out of Clemson. He was all over the field. He jumped out in the preseason there. So you're talking about, you already mentioned Buda Baker and the kind of players they have on defense. It's really just all about staying healthy for J.J. Watt. I'm not going to predict that he doesn't stay healthy. If he stays healthy, I think he can get double-digit sacks. Over.
Cool. Got you. All right. My last one here, the Michigan Wolverines. We know the expectations for Harbaugh. There's a lot of expectations. So Michigan football, 7.5 wins. You going over or under?
I'm going over. I have Michigan right at 8 wins. when they came out with their original schedule, they had Michigan State at home and they were going to Indiana, and I had 7 wins. I went through it. Then they changed the schedule and they had Michigan going to Indiana. So then I changed and said, hey, I thought that they would lose if they went to Bloomington like they did last year. I thought having them in Ann Arbor, that was going to be the difference. And obviously they could lose that game. I think 7.5. I think 7 and 8. It's real easy, to go either way there. I think, those are solid picks either way, but I'm going 8.
I'm gonna go with the under. I got Michigan going 7-5 this year. I think they lose to Ohio State, Indiana, Wisconsin, Penn State, and I think they lose to State. So Michigan State. So I got them with 5 losses this year. I got them going 7-5. So I'm going under.
I'm with the 7-5. I think they're gonna blow it against like Rutgers or Northwestern or something like that, or just lay an egg in Nebraska. I don't know who they're gonna lose to, but I also agree with 7-5. I just don't trust that football team at all.
Yeah, they're not winning the East this year.
No.
I don't see it.
I don't either.
Yep.
All right, Raj, any final parting thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys what you guys think about the fight Sunday. Jake Paul minus 190 on the money line, Tyron Woodley plus 160 on the money line. What's you guys' expectations from the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. You have to sell me on it if I really want to get in there and watch it. Like, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, is it worth watching? I hate Jake Paul with a passion, so I would love to see him lose. That'd be great.
He's on a 3-0 win streak. He's coming off 2 knockouts.
So like, is he good at boxing? Is that what you're saying? He's good at boxing.
Is this the white dude from YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, his older brother's the one that just fought Floyd. So yeah, he's going against Tyron Woodley this Sunday in Cleveland. So should be.
Do I have to pay for it?
Yeah, pay-per-view. Yep.
I'm not doing that. I'm not paying to watch Jake Paul fight. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it either, man.
All right, got you. All right, appreciate you guys having me on board.
See you next week, man.
You can tell us about the fight.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, peace.
All right, because there are probably a lot of people like, man, what are you guys talking about? Raaj is on top of it. So there you go.
All right. And are you ready to move to the 4th chapter? You want to do some feedback first?
I am ready to. I'm looking at some people weighing in on Michigan there. Let's go. Let's go to the 4th chapter.
All right. And as we talked about before, Miguel Cabrera hit his 500th home run on Sunday. It was awesome. We have video of it if you want to see it, Dennis. But overall, it was a great series weekend it was a great weekend series for the Tigers. They looked good against the Blue Jays. Thank you, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., for messing up that ball in the 9th inning, not picking the ball properly at first. I love seeing that. And I don't know. Tyler Alexander looked good. I can't remember. Willie Peralta looked good, and Michael Fulmer wasn't bad either. So it was a solid weekend series for the Cats.
Yeah, the Friday extra inning game was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
good defense. There was a lot of double plays going on over the weekend, but yeah, I mean it was all just about Miguel Cabrera. I've been sitting around and waiting and watching, and a lot of they were throwing up the graph. The most at bats ever was a Jimmy Fox or A-Rod from 499 to 500. So he was getting into the territory, or he was right at the number. So I was like, wow, it not only seems like a long time, it shows that it's a long time, when they put up the graph. And then, of course, he did hit it. I have to be honest, I did see his first at bat, and then I had the DVR, and I'm out hitting golf balls, and I thought, well, I'll go back in and watch. As I'm going out and I'm outside, and I get that text thread coming in from my friend, all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, congratulations, Miggy. I wasn't expecting that from my friends, but obviously they were out there watching it. So I did come back in, but it was a nice moment. My wife came downstairs, and I had it all queued up. She didn't know. I mean, so it was just a minute or two after we were able to watch it. So it was pretty cool going into the bullpen. I mean, it's history for Detroit sports fans. There was a period of time around, with the Wings and the end of the Pistons and the Tigers, man, we had, and we always are interested in football. We had so many things going on that were great. And these last few years have been really lean. So we just really, I think, embrace and lean into the moments, the great moments a little bit more. And that's what it was on Sunday with Miguel Cabrera. It was just a feel good all around. I'm glad it just went into the bullpen. Even though I was ready for a story of somebody grabbing it, I liked how we didn't have to go into any of that. He got the ball. He's good to go. He had it in the case already. He looked pretty happy. He's happy. I'm happy. Tiger fans are happy. And it came at a, that homestand. All the at bats were awesome. It was an atmosphere. It was it was a really nice foreshadowing of what we're expecting to see the next couple of years, where the Tigers are good again, where you have the ballpark packed and you have that atmosphere. And we had the two contrasts for the last few years. Like the Tigers didn't even need the pandemic, to go over there and say, "Oh yeah, everybody's really spread out here." Like nobody was going to the games, nobody cared, but they did. And for the pursuit of 500, it was cool. The homestand was great. It was a little bit of a downer that he wasn't able to do it at home, but it was still, I wasn't expecting to be as dialed in, and my wife and people texted me as much as they were, and then so it was good all the way around. It was a cool moment that I'll never forget.
Yeah. Also, thank you to the city of Toronto. That was really cool. The curtain call and everything like that. They treated it like it should be, just absolute history. I'm also shocked that he was the first player in a Tigers uniform to do it. The Tigers have been around since what, like 1903 or something like that, some like 100 years ago, and I found that shocking when like Matt Shepard said something about that, saying that no Tiger's ever done it in a Tiger uniform. Would you put him as the best Tigers hitter of all time now, like over people like Ty Cobb and stuff like that, or no?
No, not a better hitter than Ty Cobb. And he's great, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's not yet, in the stratosphere of Ty Cobb. But it's there's only 27 guys that had ever done it, and you think a lot of those guys, there's probably 10, 15 that you would take and throw out to the street because of steroids, and so it really became. It used to be, I don't know, I was going to say 20 years ago, but now I'd say 25, 30 years ago, the home run was everything. And you would think like, man, this would have been such a prestigious mark and everything else. But we went through the steroid era, which really diluted the home run and how much we care about it. Miguel was able to go through all of that, though, and come out the other side where he doesn't have the, anything.
The asterisks.
He doesn't have any asterisks or any link to any performance enhancing drugs or any of that. So he's got that going for him. And yeah, I mean, the ticket to Cooperstown, when he gets 3,000 hits, we've already mentioned that early next year, that's going to be cool too. So what was your question? Is he the greatest Detroit Tigers hitter? I put him in there behind, Cobb, but Hank Greenberg was pretty good. And so was Charlie Gehringer and Sisler. I mean, it's hard when you start looking at those early numbers. I said Sisler. That's not who I meant. When you start looking for those 19, 20, and 30 hitters there's a few that stack up there. But yeah, I mean, he's right up there as one of the greats, that's for sure. But I'd put him behind Cobb still.
Should we throw up the video real quick of him hitting the 500th?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
The 1-1. Deep fly ball. Right center field. That's got carry. It's gone! Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
That's pretty cool. Matt Shepard with a good call. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything, seeing it. Like I said earlier, I stopped what I was doing, turned around, watched them. Like, even though I said it for every at-bat before that at-bat, like, this is it. This is the at-bat. We're ready. And watching him hit that, like, it definitely sent, I don't know, like shivers down my spine. Like, it was a really emotional moment. I wanted to tear up, but I couldn't. But it was awesome to see. Like you said, we were so blessed from 2000 until 2013 with at least having the Wings dynasty or the Pistons, all that up until 2008. Like, we were spoiled rotten here with good teams, and then all of a sudden it just went away. And seeing something like that happen, as Jonathan Scope's hitting right now, it was really nice to see. And good for Miguel Cabrera. And he absolutely has his ticket punched to Cooperstown whenever he's done playing.
Yeah, I was looking to throw some of those early 20th century players. Heilman and Crawford are the ones, but Miggy's up there. He's up there with K-Line, and he's up there with K-Line and Cobb.
The number 20. The number 20. I'm sorry.
You want to put Greenberg? That's all right, but I'm going through it, man. K-Line and Cobb and Cabrera. He's right in the mix there. What were you saying?
The 24 is going to be a retired, right? It has to. Right?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that.
I mean, he's hit for the Triple Crown. He's had batting titles. He's been an amazing player. He's going to have.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the numbers out there, the majority of those guys spent their entire careers with Detroit. I mean, Jack Morris didn't. He went on, was with the Twins, and he was with the Blue Jays, and the Tigers did majority of Cabrera's career has been here in Detroit. So, there's a chance for that, but I don't think it's a sure thing right now. I think it's a sure thing.
God, it's got to be a sure thing. I would think so. I mean, I know don't the Ilitches have that rule where they have to be a Hall of Famer to get retired or something like that? Isn't that a rule for the Ilitch family retiring members? Or am I making that up?
No, I think that they do. That's one thing because they haven't put Whitaker's number out there, and obviously he's not in the Hall of Fame. But it's not the same thing. Like they've got a statue of Willie Horton. Of course, he's not a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, but I think that the Red Wings have that rule. For their retired numbers, but I don't know if fence seats owned. I think that's the same thing. So yeah, but we know he is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and you know what? He is. That would be a great moment. So now that I'm talking it through, I don't think it's a no-brainer, but I think especially if he can make it through 3,000, which he's going to. Yeah, I guess
he's a Hall. He's going to get retired. The 24 will absolutely be retired at Comerica Park.
I think you can make it for that. I think you're probably right.
Want to get some feedback? You want to move on? What are you thinking?
Well, hit the feedback always. We want to hear from everybody that puts up something here, that takes the time to type something up.
This guy's saying, Raaj, you were supposed to catch that 500th, homie. What happened? Yeah, I don't know why Raaj wasn't in Toronto for that. That's tough. Intern stating the obvious. Miggy's the 28th player to hit the 500 mark. Thanks for letting us know, Pete. 28th, excuse me.
He's right. I was wondering what would have happened and if you're, I don't know, it was about a 20-foot drop there. Do you jump over and go after the ball?
That's worth it.
If you're a fan there in Toronto. I don't know, and maybe it's higher than 20 feet, so that's about the limit. I don't know how far. I mean, right now I don't think I'm going to jump 20 feet. Back in the day, maybe 15, 10, 15. 20 is getting up there and it's cement maybe down there. So 20 feet, but you jump down there but you get to keep the ball if you'd actually do it. Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to jump. So nobody did it. Good move. I wondered if it was at Comerica and you were in the first and you were making an attempt and you actually fell over and you got into the bullpen and you ended up, but I don't know. We don't have to go there. Those were a lot of things that we speculated on. What else? Roger's
asking, who do you guys think will be who do you think will hit 500 next? That's a really good question. I'm looking at an article by USA Today right now. It's listing off some players. Nelson Cruz is 41 with 443 home runs. Do you think he can get there?
No. Unless, a couple more trips to Biogenesis, maybe.
Yeah.
Nelson Cruz. I hope he doesn't get there. And you know what? His won't be celebrated. I mean, his is unnatural. His is a juiced one.
Yeah. They have also on this list, let's see here. Robinson Cano. He's not going to get there. He has 334.
He's suspended.
Giancarlo Stanton might. He's only 31.
How many homers does he have?
332. Justin Upton is 324 at 33 years old.
I don't think so. I could see Stanton.
Mike Trout has 190 more to go. He's at 310. He's only 30. Mike Trout could maybe do it.
Throw down. I'll put down some money on Mike Trout doing it. I mean,
the other two guys we're talking about are Bryce Harper at 255 home runs and Manny Machado 245 home runs.
Give me out of that group. I'll take Giancarlo Stanton and I'll take Mike Trout.
Giancarlo Stanton at Yankee Stadium helps for sure. All right.
Really helps.
And
left-handed.
All right, moving on to the fifth chapter. I want to bring the major wager back for a minute just because I heard some of the Pistons schedules released about over-under win totals and all that. And fifth, it came in at 25.5. The Pistons won 20 games last year. Do you think they can improve 26 games this year? Do you think they have 6 more games in them?
Yeah, no doubt. I predicted them to win 33 games already. So I'm way over from Vegas. I think that I would put some money down on that right now.
I already put some cash down on the Pistons to go over 25.5. That, and I still have to clarify this. I'm not totally sure. It says Pistons are plus, it depends where you look, plus 2,500 to make the playoffs. I have no idea if that's entailing the play-in tournament or being a 1 through 8 seed. I have no idea. But if it involves the play-in tournament,
you can get into the play-in tournament and make the playoffs. So,
okay, well,
you can also be the number. You can also be the number 7 and 8 and technically be in the playoffs, but then you have to play in the play-in tournament and don't make the playoffs. So, yeah, the play-in tournament factors in.
So, if you're a 9 or 10 seed in the NBA, is that technically in the playoffs or not?
No, okay, you have to win the play-in game. Just like if you finished 7 or 8, which normally in the past would make you a playoff team, you've got to win one of those games.
Got it. Okay, I may sprinkle the Pistons plus 2,500. I'm not sure yet, but I love the 25.5. That's a no-brainer to hammer the over, and I got to warm myself up to plus 2,500 for the Pistons to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think there's worse bets. I don't like. I saw Darren Ravel saying the most bet team to make the playoffs this year was the Detroit Lions. It's because they're plus 750.
Okay.
The team that was bet not to make it the most was the Dallas Cowboys. So the Cowboys always get a lot of money either way.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting, people jumping on the Lions plus 750 to make the playoffs.
I may be bad at betting, but I'm not that stupid. The Lions are not making the playoffs this year.
I mean, there's always got to be a number where you would consider doing it. Plus 750 is not enough for me. I mean, like, plus 1,500. I mean, now you're starting to talk. So that would be a lot more. Like, I think the Lions ceiling is 7 or 8 wins this year, and that's not making the playoffs. I don't think 8 wins out of a 17-game slate. Even though they've added a team, is that making the playoffs? I think that's the other thing too. You're factoring in the extra game here, that an extra team before it was 6 teams. Now you have 7 teams. Now you have another game as well. So, I mean, those are some hard things to figure when it comes down to betting. Me, I've been full fantasy football mode here the past couple days. Travis Etienne going out with the Liz Frank injury. That means Robinson, the backup, the undrafted free agent last year, was so good and was such a steal for everybody. He becomes right back in relevant, of course, in fantasy. And we had the receiver on the other end of that Jameis Winston touchdown, and that is Marquez Callaway. He is the story of this exhibition season. Did you have the picture of the guy that he was holding hands with Michael Thomas, and he was
this picture, that one?
I like that one.
That's a real, whoever, Pro Football Focus, hats off to you. That is a great one. Callaway was awesome with those 5 receptions for 140 yards, and those touchdowns, like we talked about earlier, were awesome. Great throw from my guy Jameis, great catches from Callaway, all around great plays.
I'll tell you what, they don't have, so you look and you're like, all right, we've seen a lot of people in an exhibition season before jump up and, make some plays, and then you don't really see them in the regular season. But like the Saints have Traquan Smith. He's been with the Saints for a few years. And Michael Thomas, maybe he'll be back by week 6, but could be week 8. I would imagine he would want to get a game or 2 under his belt before the trading deadline, because he hasn't seen eye to eye with Sean Payton. So, I mean, if I had to guess, week 7 or 8, that would have him starting the season on the pup. 6 weeks for Callaway. They got, I don't know, even, Little John Humphrey or whatever, that wide receiver. Like, he looked like he wasn't half bad, but it's they don't have a tight end that's going to be stealing any receptions there. And Troutman, who got hurt. I mean, Callaway, he's out there making plays, and Winston obviously likes him, but I mean, he's moved up my draft board. So it's Najee Harris. Yeah. If there was ever any doubt about the Steelers running back who got taken in the first round and put Jelani Tavai in the spin cycle as he went by and whiffed and went down the sideline on that 46-yard reception or whatever else. Those are the guys I would put in the high riser category right here in the fifth chapter.
So I'm picking 12th in my fantasy draft in a couple weeks. Do you think Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook will fall to 6th?
I think Henry could, but I don't think Dalvin Cook's going.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do at 6 is take Derrick Henry or something like that. I have no idea what to do with that pick. It's kind of a weird pick.
Well, it depends. Is it a full PPR league?
Full PPR.
And there's no keepers?
No keepers.
And you're at 6?
I'm at 6.
It's only a 16 league?
12.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to be looking at some wide receivers at that point.
I don't know. I just had this thing. I don't like drafting wide receivers in the first round. I understand with I don't know who I take. DeAndre Hopkins? I don't know. Who do I take at 6?
You go to Green Bay or you go to Kansas City.
I took Tyreek Hill at 10 last year, and that kind of worked out, kind of didn't work out for me. It was 50-50.
Yeah, Hill, Kelsey. I mean, those are all kinds of guys that are in there. All right, maybe we'll talk some more fantasy football coming up on Thursday. We'll definitely have one of the chapters where we'll compare Jimmy G or Jared Goff. Who's better? Who wore it better or who's better? Who's better? That's what we'll go with. Thanks to Brian Jelinek. And who's running the feed? Peter?
We got our guy Pete FINALLy running the board, so it's intern Pete now.
Intern Pete, great job. Nice to have you aboard. Thanks for watching. One of these days we will have the podcast back up and running.
We're working on it now, Fifth. I'll have it up by Thursday.
Woo! Look at that.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Good night.
Good night, everybody.